All right, welcome to CE159, 259 Green Infrastructure. This is a class very close to what I do as for my research. So that's why this is my research course. And this is also very relevant for any sustainability programs, particularly in big cities like Los Angeles. So that's why this class is very relevant for many of you who wanted to work in industry, partly because there will be many jobs on green infrastructure design. In fact, if you are from LA, you know that there is a parcel tax, which means that every 1 square feet of space you own, which is impervious, you pay 25 cents as a tax per year, and that translate to $300 million a year for LA County, and they are designed to invest in infrastructures for stormwater as well as wastewater. The reason is LA doesn't have enough water on its own. That means we have to export many of this water from outside. So the idea here is that if you invest in this infrastructure, you can locally harvest 100% of your water need from stormwater as well as wastewater or any other resource. So that's why this class is pretty relevant. But before that, this is just me. Want to tell you that my research is stormwater treatments, design, and bioremediations. Most importantly, I try to design the system such a way that it can be resilient under different climate conditions. So we design it for different reasons, different ways. You learn from it. This is just a picture to show that the very low um, at the bottom, that's the pictures just to show that these are different materials we are produced from waste material that we use for designing these systems. And the middle pictures, that's where I am digging some soil from roadside to get to see what we can, how we can improve those soil amendments in the roadside so that they can treat lots of the stormwater at the roadside. Because if you know that most of the roads is required to have 100 to 50 to 100 feet for both sides of the roads, and those sites are wasted space, but those space can be used to treat many of these stormwater. That way, entire road infrastructure can become a water treatment solutions. So one of the projects that we are working on is funded by California Transportation Agency, and that's where we are designing how to make this green infrastructure on roadside. And the very bottom, you see the my group, research group, just the grad students. And then on the top, you see my son. That's what I do if I don't have to work. And if I have a choice, I will play with him all the time. All right. So again, this is just to show that this is my research. We basically design filters, natural filters that could remove pollutant from stormwater. And so I know we work on engineering aspect of it, but we do also work on science aspect of it. We try to understand how to design the system such a way that it can be resilient, and mostly the science, how pollutants move in the subsurface. Subsurface means the soil beneath your feet, and that's exactly the subsurface is the reason why we have all the drinking water most of the places, because we rely on groundwaters and nature filter rainwater or storm water naturally by allowing that water to infiltrate through this ground. So when you think of green infrastructure design, most of the infiltration based design is based on this concept that you remove that top surface or subsurface or modify it in a way that it can treat stormwater naturally. So this is just to show that stormwater could be polluted, and so that pollution is the reason why a lot of people don't use stormwater, but we are just basically creating these filters. And the challenge is how to design the system so that it can last for 20 to 25 years for it to be economically effective. So that's the challenge of this class. And I do teach this class because my lab groups will specialize in this. I also deeply passionate about environmental sustainability, and I do work on that for my research. And basically, if you think, when you say sustainability, it has three components: environment, people, and health. I mean, people and health together, and also economy. And economic is not definitely my forte. I don't understand a lot of it, but I do understand health and environment. But none of these would work if we don't have enough human resource and or people to work on it. So that's why, I believe that through this class we will create this workforce that's needed for this designing these infrastructures. So that's why this class is offered in UCLA. So to train students like you for this future job related to environmental sustainability. And again, if just because I say green infrastructure, it's not necessarily just water. It could be energy because it can be used to cool for air conditioning as a green roof. It could be also used for different purpose. It's not just civil engineers or environmental engineer. You could be a mechanical engineer, economist. There are many disciplines that works on green infrastructure. So that's why. But this class is focused on mostly water and pollution. I will go a little bit about other aspect, but not that much details. But those are equally important. So my expectation is that that we ourselves as people or citizen will do our little bit job so that as a whole we move together towards sustainability. That way we don't have to burden the government to do everything for us. For instance, how to clean recycle. It's not about just government. We can be more responsible and use product that is not unsustainable or that's not sustainable. So that's why I expect that this class should be more engaging in the sense we expect you to ask questions, ask difficult questions, because this is evolving field. So we like to innovate based on your feedback. So this is just again just to show that our lab is online. You can interact with our lab through Twitter, Instagram's account is written there, and the TA Renan Valenka, he's the circle mark over here. He's our TA. He's excellent in this project. He's my the senior most PhD students and very specialized in this particular field. So I'll stop here and let Renan introduce himself. So Renan, if you can go ahead and um, speak about yourself a little bit.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I was having problems with my mic. Hi everyone, my name is Renan. I'm going to be the TA for this course. I've been, that's 2 times TA. This is my 3rd time TAing for this course. It involves a lot of my research because I work in the lab, as Sanjay was saying, with stormwater, biofilters, anything, kind of stormwater related and microbiome and pollutants. So I really enjoy teaching this course because it's basically, I get to bring things from the lab and show to the students and not just talk about, the fundamentals of the class, but also some real world problems that we face in the lab and that we try to solve in the lab. So my background is actually in chemical engineering. I have a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering, and I also got my master's here at UCLA in Environmental Engineering. I got my undergrad in Brazil. I'm from Brazil, born and raised there, but have been living here in LA since 2017. And I feel the fun facts about myself, I have a dog called Charlie, as you can see in the picture. He's usually, before the pandemic, he was always during office hours. So a lot of these students would come to office hours just to hang with Charlie. But this time it's not going to be like that. But sometimes when I'm presenting something, maybe he's going to be playing with his toys in the background or like making noises. So just know about that. I surf almost every day. That's my type of exercise. I love Italy and an Italian subject, and I drink cortados. I don't know if anyone likes coffee, but I drink and I make myself cortados every day because the pandemic, I just got, a lot of practice making my own coffee to start a day. So I'm very excited about this project, and feel free. I'm still my discussion section is on Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. And I'll send. It's going to be the same Zoom link as the class, just to make everything easier. I'm still going to decide the time for office hours, but it's probably going to be on Wednesday afternoon. Most of the discussion is going to be pre-recorded, and I want to basically spend time during the discussion mostly to, talk to you guys and answer questions and clarify things and help you guys with the project about that's going to be developed in this class, that it's very exciting. I have my website as well if you want to check it out. It's not that anymore. It's just renanvalenca.com. I forgot to update that, but feel free to go there and look more about the research that we do in the lab and anything else that you want to know about. So yeah, my email is not there, but you can find my website, and I'm very flexible with timing. So if you cannot come to office hours, neither discussion section, feel free to send me an email, and we can set up a 15 minutes meeting just to solve any questions that you might have. But I'm excited for this quarter. Thank you.
Thanks, Renan. I just want to also emphasize that Renan has a track record of excellent, not just excellent TA, but enable people to write well for their projects. And some of them go on to actually publish in research journal articles. So I just want to write, all the publications that Renan was part of as a lead author or co-author. So these are the list of publications he has helped me and also himself to publish. And what I didn't list here is one of the publications that is we are going to submit soon. It's where he was the instructor for first year undergrad students. And so he basically enabled them to work on very simple projects related to green infrastructures in 1 quarters, and we are going to submit them as a review paper. So the reason why I want to emphasize is because many of you are going to work with him for your report on this class. So that means here you have opportunity to actually make your report as a publication if you want to. So obviously, I'm not promising that any of those reports will become a publications, but at least it's a start. But if you are interested, you can continue working with him and me beyond this quarter to make it a publications. So it doesn't have to be just your report. If you are really, you realize that this is something you love to do it, that means, once the quarter is over, you can reach out to me and Renan. We have also different types of papers that we work on, and we can involve you on those, mostly for remote writings process to help you publish. So for now, for this quarter, obviously, you don't have to worry about any of those. You can just work on your report, and Renan will help you so that you gain some experience, so that when you start working with us, you're already trained, and you can get it done in summertime. And why it is important? It is important for 3 different reasons. Number one, just imagine what you're going to do beyond this class. If you're not going to grad school, you are going to industry. The 90% of your work will be technical writing. And many of you may not have any experience on technical writing. And this is what will give you that experience. And you also learn how to think when you work on any journal manuscript. And that's more important. Think critically is very important, and he will help you. And some of you might be interested in grad school. If you have a publication as an undergrads or even a grad students, it does increase your chance to get into grad school tremendously, even as a co-author authorship. And just to give you a preference, just ideas, obviously things has been more competitive over years. When I applied to grad school, that was not, even right now, it's not a requirement, but it's some, many more and more students are coming up with publications. And I myself didn't publish even during my PhD. That was not that easy. But what I'm saying is we learned the process, how to publish. So we can help you publish if you want to work with us extend for extended period of time, because publication can be done in a 1 quarter. This is just the opportunity, just extra things if you want, if you are interested in. So having said that, I will just pause it here for any questions before we go for class objective.
Sanjay, I just wanted to clarify that I had a question here about if the TA section would be also recorded. And so I'll pre-record some of the session, but every Friday I'll be there answering questions that you may have about the project or homeworks and provide any extra material if necessary. And I'll record that, conversation and post online on CCLE. So in case anyone misses a discussion or wants to know what we talked about, you guys can always watch it later.
And also, I want to emphasize that we are mindful, we are learning through this whole COVID process. What we don't want to overwhelm with you with lots of video materials. Means that if we are putting any videos offline, that means we are accounting for that part of the class, so that you don't have to watch any times more than 2 hours of materials per class. So that you, as if you are sitting here for 2 hours. That's the whole idea. So we are not going to put more than the amount of hours that you are already assigned or registered to work. All right, so having said that, I'm going to now share the syllabus with you.
Sorry, one thing, there are no discussions this week, okay?
Yeah, no discussion this week. Renan, you can leave now if you want to, but just thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, so there are a couple of things I want to, let's see. Green infrastructure, okay. So best if I share the entire screen. Okay, so right now what I'm sharing is the CCLE website, okay. The reason I'm sharing is this is where you will take quiz exams, quiz and everything else. So couple of things you have to enable, whether I don't know whether in your side this is what you see, but there is a course app, so that's where we can enable some app. This is one of the app is Gradescope. So Gradescope is by which you are submitting all your assignment, homework, as well as any exams. So you have to scan using your cell phone and then upload it. So this is Gradescope. If you click on this one, it will by default open it new page. A new Gradescope course, so link the course. Okay, so I just created it, update the course, so that you will see this any kind of assignments over here. It may look a little different for you, but again, this is where you'll see the due dates and all that. And anytime I need to change anything, I'll change it here. So you can see that change reflected. And second thing is all kind of slides in every materials will be uploaded here. So you can click on that, but the recording will not be uploaded here. The recording will be uploaded on a YouTube channel. I'll share the links with you, including these recordings. All right, so I changed the syllabus or tweak it. The syllabus I shared last time was not from this year. This was from last year. So I originally intend to just share the last year first, and then we discuss about the details. So I want you guys to read the syllabus at least once so that you know the details. What you see over here is the Zoom link. So this is the same Zoom link you'll be using for any kind of office hour as well as TA sessions. So you can just use that same Zoom link. Another is office hour. I put the office hour. This is very symbolic. The reason I say symbolic is I'll put myself free for this time so that I can meet any of you if you need to meet. but you are not really required to meet during only that time. You can send me an email if you want to meet any other time. Or as I said, the class will not be always 2 hours. So that means sometimes I'll just have a class for 1 hour and then rest of the class will be office hour because I uploaded those materials online. So do check those over here. There is no textbook and course objective. You can read all that. Um, Let me see. There is a questions. Yes, office hour will be through the same Zoom link. That's the same Zoom link you use for everything related to this class. Schedule is there at the end. We'll get to that. Discussion session. This is not required that you have to attend all the discussion session. This is just for TA, and but this will help you write your project. So that's why it's important that you at least watch those recordings or ask those questions. Homework assignment will be given. There will be 3 homeworks maximum. The reason is you'll be focused on doing homework in the first half of the class, little less on the project side, but once the first half, which is 5 week gone, you'll be mostly focused on the 3 to 4 week, 3 to 4 homework questions. And there will be no, there is no final exams. There will be one midterms exams, which is 2 hours, but it will give you one extra hour because this is, you will be take home exam as well as this is also for you to because you can't have any control what's going on surrounding you. So that's why we give extra hour just in case there is any disturbance. This is open book. That means you can use any of your homework questions or anything that you want to see to answer the questions. But this will be given 24 hours. So that means you have within 24 hours to upload your solutions using your own sheet, any of the paper. You're not going to use exam sheet like the before. Um, but once you open the exams, you have 3 hours maximum to scan and upload your solutions. There will be 4 quizzes approximately every 2 weeks. 10 multiple choice questions will be given also similar question in the class so that you know how to do it. Mostly the quiz questions will be released by 7 p.m. on Thursday of that week, which is 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 9th. And once you have those quiz released, you have 24 hours to respond to answer those quiz via CCLE. But once you open or click on the quiz, you have roughly 2 minutes per questions. Let's say you have 10 questions, you'll have 20 minutes to respond to all the answers. These are multiple choices. I'll consider 3 best quiz out of 4. That means if you did poorly in one quiz, this will not affect your grade. And so that's just the one extra. Class participation, again, it's a pre-recorded, so that means it's not required that you have to be in the class. And the reason I do it is because I know that many of you are from different time zones, and 4 p.m. class, which is could be 7 p.m. in East Coast, or if you are from different country, it could be midnight. So just to be fair for everybody, I don't impose that you have to attend the class, but you have to see the video materials for you to do well in this class. So it's your responsibility to check those. Project report, we'll go through that quickly, but at the end of the class, which is the final week, in the week 10, all the team members will present their project. And so that means this will be a live presentation. The reason is this will be more engaging in the sense you'll present as if you are presenting in a conference. So that means we'll ask you questions, we'll give you that practice for interview. So that's the whole reason. You'll be assigned at least 15 to 20 minutes with 10-minute question, 10 to 12 minutes for your presentations and 5 to 7 minutes for discussion on your project so that everybody else learn. And this is attendance is mandatory as a team. So if your team is presenting, you have to be present that time. And then again, this will go on for last 2 days of the class, last 2 classes. So this will be Tuesday and Thursday of the final week 10. Um, Again, course expectations is pretty similar for both undergrad and graduate students. For graduate students, we'll give you some extra work related to research articles so that you learn how to analyze and think critically about research. Class website, again, CCLE, you can use Zoom. There is a campusware. I want to show you that there is a campusware set up here. So you can join campusware using the link, which is I already provided to you. And this is the code if it is asked. Or I could just add you from your email ID, and which if I see that some are not added, I will do it. And why it is important, because I don't claim that I will respond to all your emails, because it's just not easy for me to, I may skip it. A lot of times I don't read all emails, so I get hundreds of emails every day. So I'm more at risk to miss your email if you send me email. But through campusware, it's a lot easier for me to organize, at least see when you ask questions. And second, any question, I don't have to answer the question only, because TA is there, so TA can answer these questions. And third, if you ask questions, you are actually helping the class, because you can ask anonymously or you can ask uh, um, uh, any way you want. But point is, you can also make it visible for the entire class or just me or TA. So if you keep it entire visible for the class, everybody else know the questions, and any response I give, they also know the answers. And that way, same questions may not be asked by other students. It just helps whole class. So I really encourage you to enroll into campusware. You don't have to worry about privacy, because campusware is approved by UCLA for privacy concern. They are not taking your any data, or we are not sharing any other informations. So this is just one other aspect of the syllabus. Again, the link is here if you want to join. Um, well, there is no cell phone policy, but Zoom wise, I'll just ask you to mute yourself when there is a lectures. Only unmute yourself when you have to speak. And again, interrupt me anytime you have any questions. You can also put your put questions on the chat window. Again, there is no textbook. There are many links over here, many manuals. You can all, those are freely available. We'll give you handouts to learn about those. These are the tentative schedule. The reason I say tentative is because sometimes some due dates change, but mostly what will never change is the quiz or exams. Okay. Um, so you see that homework 1, homework 2, homework 3, homework 4. These are the 4 assignments within the first 4 weeks. After that, there is no homework assignment. But there will be quiz every alternate week, week 2, week 4. These dates are already pre-assigned. Again, this quiz will be released on Thursday at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. It will be due 24 hours. So that means you can take any times on Friday or even Thursday night. You just need 20 minutes window. And these are some topics that's already assigned, just so that you know what's being covered. The midterms is on week 7, but anything until week 5 will be part of the midterm. So that means anything covered on the we'll get to that when there is a midterm comes. Now just know that you have enough time to practice or learn about those homework questions before the midterms. And then there are some I have to check, there is some other issues here. So there'll be one quiz on week 9 based on the materials covered after the midterms, so that you have some incentive to read those. But the week 10 will be mostly class presentations. And the class projects, we have some details here, but I want to just read it whenever you can get a chance, but I want to just give you some specific details. These are the, as you see, the entire project is graded at different week. Okay, So it's not like at the end you'll give the entire final report, you receive the full credits. Every week you have to do some assignment, which is, and this is where the TA is going to help you. So the details will be all discussed by TA. He can help you thinking based on the type of project you chose as a team. But these are assignments that you have to do. Now, for instance, this first week, all you have to do is form a group and think of different types of green infrastructures so that you know what are those, research about it or search about it. That way you have some idea of which one you want to work on. So that's just the 5% of the credit. So as long as you find a team, or if you don't find a team, you can reach out to me so that, but through CampusWare, you can do all those, ask those questions so that you can form team over there. So as you see, these are all different steps are already written, and Renan will help you for those. And each week you'll get some percentage part of the project. So by week 9, as you see, or week 9, you already have 70% of the project done. The final draft you'll submit on week 10, which is 30% after including revision and draft as well as final after getting my comments. And this is the basically template of your project report. So you'll have a title. Everything is already done, very specific format so that you know how to write a journal articles or report. Abstract, it's already said what to write. There is a template, so you can just follow those. You can use Google Doc or Microsoft Word, doesn't matter, but Google Doc is more helpful because that way you can have other students work simultaneously. So all these details are kind of little bit given. Renan will help you write about those based on your project type, and do check all those. All right, so that's all for the syllabus. Any question?
Professor?
Yeah.
Is this the final version of the syllabus, or will you further update it later in the
No, this
quarter?
is final syllabus.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's all in terms of the syllabus. Let me see if I miss anything. Yeah, the research projects will be 10 pages. It's all given, written somewhere. I think I try to put it somewhere because I think last year, not last year, last quarters, um, it is not clear, so that some students ended up writing a lot, which was it's a lot of effort for them to see that entire 10 pages they wrote extra is not going to be included. Total 10 pages. Okay, that's the final report. Just read anytime you have question, just ask on CampusWare or check the syllabus. Syllabus is pretty extensive, so everything is included unless something is unclear. Okay, so that's all for the syllabus. Let's go to the PowerPoint presentation. So stop share. So I think it's already 4:41. We'll take 5-minute break because we don't have much to cover today. I'll just go very quickly so that you have some time to take coffee or whatever you want to, and wake up if you're already tired. So we'll meet around let's say we meet around 4:50. Okay, it's right now 4:42. So in 8 minutes we'll meet again. Okay. So we are going to, as you know, this class name is Green Infrastructures. If you search Green Infrastructures on EPA website, it will take you a page, multiple page dedicated for green infrastructures, for instance here. So part of the first class for you to form a group and know what should be your project. This is where you can get lots of information. So search Green Infrastructures and EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. These are the links. And then you can learn some more about different types of green infrastructure. So you can get some idea about it. And second thing you could do is you can go to my website when I'll send an email so that you know where to go. So this is where again, this is our research. So most of the things that we discuss is all green infrastructure. This will also give an idea of what the different things we are doing so that if you want to work with the TA for any publications, you'll get some more idea about it. So every publication we publish, at least some synopsis is written here on the slide, so you'll know what we do. And another thing I wanted to mention is this class has, students from this class ended up winning first prize in the national level competitions in past. So this is something I also encourage you to not just take this class, but next year, if you are still part of UCLA, we could enter to that competition again. This is the undergrad as well as some grad students can participate. I'll say, so if you go to the news and you'll go all the way down, you'll see here undergrad students team won first prize in US EPA competitions. It's called Campus Rainwork Challenges. And if you go to this, it says about what is that challenge, what you have to do. And as you see over here, for design competition, demonstration projects, UCLA team won this prize. And so this is the team that obviously there's those students were in either in this class or C150 153, which is Introduction to Environmental Engineering. This is usually announced in October, so that means you have to in October you have to enroll or at least register for these competitions, and then we'll write about the projects. The fun side of this one is you can start working on that now, or whatever projects you work on, we can see how it can be implemented into this type of project. So I'm going to share, if you click on this YouTube, it will open up this YouTube channel. So this is again done by our team, UCLA team that won this competition. So I want to share that video with you.
Management is important in Los Angeles for a few reasons. First and foremost, from a water quality perspective, stormwater is the #1 source of that pollution. It's the largest non-point source, as we like to call it, impacting all of our water bodies, including our rivers and, of course, the Pacific Ocean. As well, it's important because it constitutes a really critical part of our water infrastructure and supply, or it could if we were to actually capture it properly. So it's important for both a quality and a quantity perspective. So in the city of Los Angeles, the last stats that I heard about this are that every inch of rain that falls within the city produces about 3.5 billion gallons of runoff. So just imagine that. Imagine that 3.5 billion gallons of runoff just run off of our streets, which become our creeks whenever it rains, pick up pollution, and then ultimately just end up wasted in the ocean. The vast majority of that becomes wasted in the ocean, and of course it has carried all those pollutants along with it.
So yeah, we're a Title I school, which means that more than 70% of our students get free and reduced lunch. So because of the things that's happening to our physical environment around us, we're not able to come to school because the school will be closed.
Members from our UCLA team visited classrooms at Brockton to demonstrate the filtration process of green infrastructure using a simple vocabulary and a small natural filter. The students and teachers showed great interest in water and environmental issues, and we want to encourage this curiosity with interactive design applications. So our rain gardens and permeable pavement and every application of green infrastructure that we'll have on this campus will be paired with educational science, both in English and Spanish. The students can learn what green infrastructure is, why it's important for both the school and for society. We propose the incorporation of 1 green roof, 3 bio-retention areas, 4 drought-tolerant rain gardens, and 4,800 square feet of permeable pavement that drains into an underground cistern. These applications of green infrastructure will reduce stormwater runoff and improve air and heat quality on campus.
Engaging youth is extremely important, so having them understand how water fits into Los Angeles and having examples on their own campuses is an excellent way to have those people become the change agents of the future.
All right, so that's just one. Just want to share that this is something done by us. So you could also think of doing similar type of work. And this is just the map that you can see in the what they have done. So again, the opportunity is unlimited. You could use this class for many different aspects for your career. So I just want to highlight that. And again, this is a EPA website. If you go to all these links, it will give you all these information related to different types of green infrastructure. So this is just show that rainwater harvesting, rain gardens, green roofs. So if you click each of them, it will tell you a little bit about that information. And there are some case studies that will help you find more information about how to design this kind of project. So again, these are all there online. Check those. These will give you idea about what to work on. So you got to make that decision end up, by next week for sure. So at least again, any decision you made this week doesn't mean that's final. You can, at least I want you guys to read those and think about it, so that when you discuss with the TA or us, we know by next week what type of projects you are going to work on. So I require you to read all those, at least to get an idea of what different types of green infrastructures are. So that's the website. And then next thing is about this class. Any question? Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, so green infrastructures are, as I said, is designed for to achieve environmental sustainability, particularly in urban areas. So first thing you have to understand why even it is unsustainable not to have green infrastructures. So if you think of urban developments, we have more people are living in urban areas with time. Right now, more than 50% people live in urban area in US. By 2050, it will be 70% for the entire world. So that's like 6 billion or 7 billion people. In that time, the population will be 9 billion or so. So that means there are way a lot of people will live in urban areas. So that's where do we get all the resource? How do you even sustain that? Because making people live in a very small area requires lots of more resource than spreading out, because you can't supply lots of water. So again, second thing is climate change. You know that because of changing climate, we are not receiving same amount of water anymore, and so that means some areas will receive a lot more rainfall than some other areas. So how do you balance all these resources? For instance, in California, it will become more dry. If it become more dry, you got to find water from somewhere else. So that's the whole idea of it. If you use green infrastructures, you can develop a city which is more resilient for climate change aspect. This is just one example, just to show in these pictures. This is in Johannesburg or Cape Town. That's the place where in South Africa, that's the town which depends on this big lake of water. And once the lake dried out in last year or 2 years ago, they didn't have enough water to sustain that city. So how they are going to survive when the entire surface water dry out? So this is what green infrastructure come in play, where you can use green infrastructure to store, or it's a natural way of storing water underground or replenishing groundwater, so that your surface water remains resilient for groundwater, for climate change aspect. And second, other aspect is it's also related to environmental justice. If you think of, we fight the many wars fought because of energy or gasoline or oil. What do you think of? But if you think of the future war is going to be because of water. If you don't have water, you can't sustain a civilization any place. So this one pictures can show you that entire village depends on village of 50,000 people depend on this one well. And you can ask why they depend on this one well, because this is the only well which was deep enough to have some water. Every other place, groundwater is depleting very faster rate. And why it is depleting? Because this particular place in north um, west of India, Mumbai is a big city, so they are drawing water from surrounding areas. So because Mumbai is a much bigger city, they can buy water outside, and that means many small villages they cannot compete with Mumbai. So that's what happens. In long term, this will be if Los Angeles is going to draw water from let's say some other locations which cannot um, retain that water because they can pump that water or pump so much water that groundwater will be depleted. How do you allocate these water rights? So that's why it's very important to understand how we can use green infrastructures to maintain this water balance. So just to idea why urban areas are a hot spot for green infrastructure, this picture will show you. If you see on the right side, it start with the pictures over here. This just the difference is the amount of impervious surface. Impervious means anything that do not allow natural infiltration of water. So that could be parking lot, that could be roads, that could be roof, or that could be just house because it block water to get into soil. So as you see in the extreme lower right corner, that's the picture of Los Angeles, or think of big cities. Very small amount of infiltration. So only 5% infiltrations, 55%, most of the rainwater become runoff. And so if that happens, you create lots of stormwater, but you are not using them, you are just wasting them. And when you have so much of runoff, in a very quick time, you also have flooding. If it has flooding, it has erosion, it has lots of other damage. Whereas naturally, if you see on the top left corner, that's the one when there is no impervious surface, most of that water get into groundwater. So that means those water is there for us to use later. And only 10% become runoff. That means you do not have enough water to create flooding. If you have more flooding, it also have pollutions because anything on the surface will wash off and pollute our water resource. So the idea of green infrastructure is to bring that green space in between cities or impervious surface so that you allow that stormwater to infiltrate or actually capture that stormwater. That's the whole concept. So if you again just to show that if you have impervious surface, these are all the different issues. It will have flooding, it have erosions, you have water scarcity because you have less groundwater, you have more pollutions, and you have also combined sewer overflow. There is a spelling mistake there. It's overflow. The reason is many of the stormwater infrastructures used in the East Coast also use the your wastewater. So if you have lots of stormwater, that will overflow. That means all the wastewater will come into the surface, and that means it has lots of pollutions related to that. So the alternative design is green infrastructure. The idea here is that instead of having this one-way economy, you have water materials that comes to the city and you can reuse some of them. Whether it's a stormwater or wastewater, you can use green infrastructures to replenish groundwater for reuse, or you can use them right away for alternative purpose by recycling them. And so that's the whole idea of having green infrastructure. This is just one example. Green infrastructure doesn't require any other space. You already have space for that. For instance, if you have a typical roadways over here, you can see most of the stormwater is infiltrated into grounds and discharged into storm drainage. But if you install green infrastructure on the roadside, you could actually remove a lot of pollutant right at the source, so that you can first you can decrease pollution, And second, you can also increase the water resource availability. This is just one of the projects, as I said, mentioned. This is funded by Caltran, or California Transportation Agency. They assign us to work on this project because we wanted to improve how or what type of amendments or how to design this roadside system so that it can filter stormwater. So this is just example, green infrastructure, just it comes with many steps. As I said, go to the EPA website and check those. A green roof on the left side, this is in New York. Permeable pavement, basically the idea is that you have a pavement that allow water to infiltrate into ground as opposed to just a runoff. You have bioswale, which is in the top right, which is very common in the roadsides. Basically, it's a depressed area with a lot of plants in it. You have rainwater harvesting, where you capture rainwater from the top rooftop and collect them and then use it, because rainwater doesn't have much pollution. Only thing that atmospheric dust, so that means you don't have to treat as much as stormwater. Um, then you have rain garden, as you see near the home and the middle sections. There is a cork cot, because that allow the stormwater to infiltrate from road to get into that rain garden. So basically, it's a garden with a depressed area so that you can capture water. And then you have planter box. There are many of these systems that you might notice every day, but you don't know these are part of the design. So this is just a few list. You can check any of the other. So these are the reason we call this green infrastructure. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to have some green. It just means that green means sustainable ways. Permeable pavement doesn't have any green space. Still, we call green infrastructures. So what is the alternative of green infrastructure? Is we call gray infrastructure. Gray infrastructure means it doesn't have any ability to capture that stormwater. You just get rid of it quickly. So example of gray infrastructure is pipe. So if you imagine you have this big pipe that allow water to move from A to B without any treatment, that's the gray infrastructures. Another thing of gray infrastructure is parking lot. It doesn't do anything other than moving water from A to B. Another example of gray infrastructure is think of a channel where the river bank or channel bank is concrete. So a good example is Bayona Creek or LA River, at least some portion of LA River where you can see this concrete structure. So those are not necessarily good for anything else other than moving water quickly from A to B. So those are gray infrastructures. Again, this is just a peer definition. You should go to this link, what is green infrastructure, so that you get an idea for different types of green infrastructures you can use for your project. Again, just to example, gray infrastructure is anything made of concrete or materials which allow water to move A to B as quickly as possible, but it doesn't change, it doesn't provide any infrastructures to actually treat pollutions. More example of green infrastructure. This is in LA. You can see that if you have a house, you can have permeable pavements. You can see over here there are multiple different structures. These gardens in the road in front of you or in front of the house could be green infrastructures. These are more water friendly than having a lawn, which you have to irrigate a lot. And then this is on the right side is near Santa Monica, and that's the green street. That's towards the sky. That side is the beach, Santa Monica Beach. So this is the locations in Santa Monica or LA. And there are many videos that I posted here. We don't have to watch it now, just so that you can watch, so that you know what is there. And this is just another example how it helps communities. I encourage you to watch them because these will help you think of the project. There are many news, just search green infrastructure anytime. This is again 2018 I search, but anytime you search Google green infrastructure, you'll get tons of news. And this is something you should do so that you know what kind of solutions people are using. And that will help you think of a project. this is also, I want to emphasize, this is this is green infrastructure. If it is properly done, it also bring equity. The reason is this is something easy to implement in many places, but there is also some negative side of green infrastructure. Is it's not negative, it's not by design that way. If you install green infrastructure in many places, it increase property value because it looks good. So that means it can also create artificial inflation of housing market. So a lot of people cannot afford those area anymore. So that means it also creates these gentrifications if you don't use green infrastructure in a proper way. So this is, again, I just want to emphasize that stormwater is a very small portion of LA sustainable LA challenge, grand challenge, or because you don't get a lot of rainfall here. So the future idea is to reuse recycled water or the wastewater, because that one is used for a lot. But having said that, these are the same treatment system that will be used for recycled water. In fact, Orange County is one of the largest they installed the largest system to recycle or reuse wastewater for drinking water or recycle wastewater, and they use green infrastructure to inject this recycled water into ground so that it can be treated naturally, and then it will be used. Again, these are many different positive aspects of green infrastructure, so you can see all that. I just don't want to continue the same thing. Just want to show that there are 17 sustainable goals, and many of them involve green infrastructure one way or other. So having said that, this is I want to try this features that if you have not done before, I'm going to ask a question on poll, and so that you can see which so still left. Okay, so this is just for testing. Okay, it's not a quiz or anything like that. So I'm launching the poll now. So you see these pictures, you have left and right side. You have to choose which one is a green infrastructure. Oh, sorry, this is let me end the poll. I have to reannounce because I said something else and I read something else. Read the questions. It says, which one of the following infrastructure is gray infrastructures, not green?
Wait, sorry, gray or green?
It's gray. Whatever you see on the screen, the question. I know that a lot of you probably answer right, but the question was wrong, or the question was asked different way and you already answered. I don't know whether you can change it, but just so that you get a practice here. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. Okay, share the results. So again, this is the quiz question will be very similar to this. I'll give you pictures and I'll show you, I'll ask you what is that now. So again, as you see, just by looking at the picture, both are parking lot. The difference is in between parking lot, you have this green space that allows stormwater to be captured and treated, something you don't have in the left side. So that's why normally when you see this picture, right side you would call green infrastructures. So the gray infrastructure will be left side. Okay. All right. So, and we'll have lots of questions like this in live classes so that you get some practice for quiz. So this is just so that you know how the quiz is going to work. So having said that, the last, this is something thought exercise that I want you guys to think about before the next class. It's not like you have to share this one. You can write on your own in your. This is in fact part of actually the homework questions. So I want you guys to think about it. Write at least 3 reasons for increase in water scarcity in urban areas. We explain a little bit why water being is being at least just to wrap up. Climate change is one of the reason. Impervious surface, which decrease in infiltrations. Third is there's just a lot of people. You don't have enough water for those. This is just one of the 3 regions I said, or 3 regions. There are many other regions. So this type of thought you need to have. The reason is this is going to be part of your project. You have to think that way. And also you'll answer this kind of question on midterms as well as quiz. Write at least 3 negative impacts of impervious surface. We explained that in the class, or at least you see some of the slides. So I want you guys to write those. So this is just a wrap up questions. What is the difference between gray and green infrastructures? We discussed a little bit, but you can go back to that slide and the link and just think of the differences. Write at least 3 benefits of green infrastructure. So these are the 4 different questions, as I said. And the reason I ask you these questions is because the quiz will be very similar to those questions. Will not ask you this question, but at least I'll give you 3 options and you'll choose which one is wrong answers. So this will give you some practice on that. So that's all in terms of the class, what we intend to cover today. Hopefully by end of this class, you'll learn what is the syllabus, what you can do in this part of this class. Again, you can do well in this class, no doubt, but you can also go one step ahead. And if you want to use this class for any future endeavor, for instance, for your job, because every job interview, they ask for writing samples. You can use this as a writing sample. And because TA is going to help you write, it will be much better than any writing you have done for other classes like CEE159, 164, where you just write based on your own theme. You didn't give enough feedbacks during the writing process. I give you some feedback, but it's not as engaging as TA, because TA will give you very specific specific instructions so that you can keep your report more like a journal articles. So I hope that this experience will help you wherever you go. So take advantage of that. And so that's all in terms of what I think about this class. But this class don't make me speak a lot. I always feel guilty. I'm the person who I like to eat a lot, but also I love to hear stories, so anytime you have to share any information, not just related to green infrastructure or news related to sustainability, just speak up, because this green infrastructure is not just a little thing where you put plant. You have a lot of other aspect of it. One of the thing I can say that, do you know what's the difference between green infrastructures or what's the link between green infrastructure and asthma? Think of that connection. You may say, oh, green space, all that, but there are a lot of different connections. If you have lots of green infrastructures in locations, it reduces your respiratory disease. The reason is, there are a lot of other connections that we don't understand. The usual connection is it can filters all the dust, so there will be less pollution, but it's actually related to plant, how plant works. Plant also create atmosphere. It controls our surrounding atmosphere in a way that can be healthier. So there are a lot of aspects of it. If you are somebody who want to medical school, you can also use green infrastructure in other aspect of it. If you are going for, let's say, economics major, I know Ambrose, you are more interested in MBA or economics. You can think of that business aspect of it now. So you can always bring this expertise for your project. So you don't have to have an engineering or environmental engineering background to improve this project. So again, I'm really excited about this class. This is the best way to end my academic year, because I see many of you from CEE153. So that growth, or that is just, you become like a family, And so that's why I say we should end this class eating something every week. we should share a food recipe. So if you have a food recipe that you love to eat, or you love to share a food, or just know about the food that you love most, share that on campusware, and I'll search it and I'll see whether I can cook that or not. If I have any question, I'll know. You don't have to know how to cook to share a recipe. You can search. If you love something, I'll just look for it. And just another thing, green infrastructure is a way you can create urban food management, because you can use green roof to produce local food. And green infrastructure is also part of the vertical farming, if you ever heard about it. And I am actually creating a vertical farming in my own house. I bought yesterday from Home Depot the shelf, so that I can make. And my original intention that if there was no COVID, would do a vertical farming on Bolter Hall every class. We'll start that in the beginning of the class, and we'll plant some food, fruits and all that stuff, vegetables, and we see that how it can treat water. And as well as end of this quarter, we'll hopefully harvest some food to eat. So that's the whole idea for me to do it. And unfortunately, COVID happened. This was something I want to do next year. But at least on video, I'll show you every time. I plant the food, I'll record a video, or I'll just show you, take my camera so that you can see. I have a very small, I'm living in an apartment, doesn't have any space, no garden. So I'm just buying a rack, and I'm buying some soil and put everything, and I'll create a green infrastructures so that you can see how it is done. All right, so that's officially end of this class. I'll stick around if you have any questions, but I'll stop recording now.